Good morning, this is Jack from theartchart.net, and this is the pre-market recording for Friday the 17th of May. Our disclaimer: we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn for our own transfer to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Now, this is looking like a very, very interesting setup. Now, what I was talking about on the chart last night, I was talking about an ideal path that it would take from here, having topped out at this area here, because this is a potential IHS neckline. Now, actually, I was talking about an ideal right shoulder low at 40. This would be a little choppy anyway. It could be anywhere from this morning's low to down to about 25. But I was thinking it would probably respect this rising support, which is currently in the 28.35 area. Now, we've come down to 53. We've got some fib support there. It's possible we're going to take this setup from there. But what we would ideally do is find a low, head up, back up to yesterday's high, break it slightly, and then we've got an inflection point. So this is what I would call a path of least resistance. It's just something that is set up to an extent where it's obvious that it may well go this way, and it would be a very obvious way to go, and sometimes it will follow it exactly. So at that stage, we're testing the daily middle band, and we either break up through it, which would be unlikely but possible, in which case convert that, and we'd be looking at a test of the all-time high, or alternatively it then fails hard there and a Janus flag setup that takes us to the previous low and likely goes lower. So far we're following that playbook. We didn't make a higher high. That is looking nice. So I'm looking for an AM low this morning. It's possible we've just seen that AM low overnight. I've got a 5-minute buy signal fixed. It may be that we're going to head straight back there and deliver that. Okay, we shall see that. Okay, NQ. NQ, actually, very similar setup, almost identical. Same neckline, same right shoulder. Ideally, it would go a bit lower, same as ES. So we're looking at effectively identical setup there. RTY. RTY, we haven't got the same setup. I would note this morning it's testing the rising support from the low. Obviously, there is possible support there. We shall see. DAX, I was thinking last night there was a very obvious move up here to the retest of the all-time high. Now, if we're going to follow on ES, the playbook I've just laid out there, then chances are that's exactly what we're going to do. We're finding support of the weekly pivot, monthly pivot, so we're finding that basically here, and then we would head up, and while ES was doing that, we would retest the high here. That would be second high of a double top in all probability, and then we would head down. ESTX, very similar. Not quite the same, but similar, i.e. we could make the high retest at exactly the same time. Now, let's have a quick look at the RTH charts, but first I'm going to have a quick look at oil, because last night's chart is delivering very nicely on there. Now, this is rolled into July, and what I was talking about there was that ideally, because I said we've got one short option left here, but it's a good one. This is a rising wedge. There's actually a channel on the June contract, but we're into July now. And what I was saying was we'd see a pull back here, we would go back up, make a marginal higher high, we would test the monthly pivot, and we would test this resistance trend line here. And you can see we got a perfect touch of this overnight. Then that we would like to be forming a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing there, and then we would reverse and head to flag support and very possibly just break back through it into the next leg down. What I'm saying here is we have a potential, if you take a short in this area, we've got a potential 8 or 9 buck runner that could take this all the way down to 54 or 56, minimum of 58, and that move could be starting right now. So just wanted to mention that. I was talking about it on the notes on the chart yesterday on the bonus charts. Have a look at it. But this is essentially where we are now on CL, and this is a very, very nice model short setup. So we shall see. All right, hang on. I've got a question on ES. On the setup on ES and NQ, Jack, would you say the AM low and high retest of fails would ultimately be the more bearish scenario if it plays out? Yes, it would, because it gives us a Janus flag reversal straight back into the previous low and down. We can make 27. I know Stan really likes 2760, and I've got a neckline of 2780. The ideal low, however, would be 2722. No ifs, no buts, no maybes, and until we see some evidence to the contrary, that's where I'm assuming any decent move is going to go, and we've got time. So, because that is, I've drawn in 2 possible head and shoulder necklines here on the SPX chart. One is here, 2780 chart level, and that is a decent match with what Stan is looking at. The second one is here. It's the March low. It's the 38.2% FIP. retracement level. This is the ideal setup, and ideally we would then see a rally which takes us back into basically this area, which has been so significant as support and resistance. Basically take us up into here as a right shoulder high, and then down. And again, we'd have the usual Janus flag inflection point where we got back to 27.22. But that is what I would describe as the obvious path. Path of least resistance to go on. So yeah, if we got that fail, that would be a beautiful start the next leg down, hard move down, 27.22, and then we would, I'd be looking for the low window there. And we would see whether we got it. All right, in terms of signals, we are still on a 60-minute buy signal. It hasn't reached the possible near-miss target, and one attraction of going on the route that I've been talking about and doing it the way I've been talking about is we can make the possible near-miss target on that buy signal. In terms of the daily middle band, we are looking at that in the... a second. That closed yesterday at 29.01. That's actually significantly below the monthly pivot now. That's a pretty good match with what we were looking at, though. And if we follow that playbook, and ideally we would make that high at the Bollinger Band today or Monday, then it would be in this area, and that would be a model. You can see the two highs almost at identical levels. There's a lovely potential neckline there. Ideally, that high would probably be on Monday, but of course it could be today. We will see. All right, let's have a quick look at the other two charts in terms of the 60 minutes. The 60-minute charts, hang on, that's the 15. Right, 60, we're still, like SPX, we haven't reached the possible near-miss target, and this, what I was talking about today, would be an ideal way of getting to that possible near-miss target. On NDX, we have reached the possible near-miss target, but we've got a very similar setup. You can see the two highs, the potential neckline, it's very similar. And we've seen also the decline overnight. So provisionally, I'm thinking if ES does it, chances are NQ is going to do it too. All right, let's have a quick look at... Right, wait a second. NG. Now, NG, we had we found support of the monthly pivot and weekly pivot. We had a 60-minute buy signal fix, and we made that target. We could have set up negative divergence with this marginal high this morning. We haven't. I'm wondering whether they're going to retest this high, and at that stage, we could. If we're going to break up, then we don't need to go and test this trend line. If we're not going to break up, then we will. So what I'm thinking is retest the high. We have another inflection point where potentially this could break higher by breaking this trend line, because general resistance trend lines don't generally overthrow. Oh, no worries, Jeff. My pleasure, mate. It's and then, but the chance, unless we're going to see a break up there, we're heading down to this trend line here, which is in the 2.56 area. So, and that's what I'm expecting to see unless I see evidence to the contrary. But at the moment, we've got no negative divergence. We will see. Right, GC. GC, possible head and shoulders forming here, but what I would say is we've now got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. But I'll talk about DX in a minute. SI, again, we've got a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. We've gone a bit lower. Are there options for this to go lower, particularly while GC was retesting the low? Yes, there are. So I've got a possible unfinished business below in the 13.6 area. I'd be slightly surprised to see that at this stage, but not ruling it out. I'll be doing all the indices again at the end. Okay, HG coming back down. I've obviously got this open double top target at 2.69. We'll see whether we make it. But we may well make it. We shall see. ZB. ZB, I was talking yesterday about a very possible break below the wedge support, which we saw, and then a very likely retest of the high, which we're in the process of seeing at the moment. I'm seeing a marginal high. We could see a retest of this high here. What I was looking at was the fact that we haven't reached the full retest of the low yesterday on TNX, and I'm expecting to see that full retest. As far as I'm concerned, any time after that, that could fail. It could break up. Absolutely, it could break up. But I've got to say the TNX setup, my first assumption would generally be that we'd be heading up, finding support, and going. And that may well happen. DX. DX, I've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing here. We may well see a retracement. If so, we could well see the monthly pivot and weekly pivot. We shall see, but I've got the same setup really on the euro. I've got a strong target back at the retest this high, but we can easily do that afterwards. We don't need to do that now. So at the moment, possible inflection point, maybe seeing a retracement back to ideally 97.25, backstopped by monthly pivot and weekly pivot, and then probable retest off the high. USD, possible buy signal brewing. GBP I didn't do today, but if you've got any questions, ask afterwards. That one is not looking healthy at the moment. Right, USD JPY. Obviously, we've got a potential inverted head and shoulders forming here. So this is either an inverted head and shoulders, or this is a flag. One or the other, and it's going to have to choose. We're still on a 60-minute sell signal. We could go a bit higher before it goes lower. That wouldn't be a problem. I'd like to not see, ideally, the annual pivot converted back to support, but we've done quite a lot of trade back over it already. If we see a rally here, I'd be thinking in terms of getting back into about the 111 area at maximum and then failing that. Okay, USD CAD. This is a triangle. This is it breaking up towards a retest of the high. I've been talking about this as a very possible unfinished business, and we're about to do it. After that, no more unfinished business. Australian dollar. I may need to redraw this wedge support trend line because we are continuing down. This could still be an underthrow. We're still on a 60-minute buy signal. But obviously with DX likely to go up and retest the high, this generally trades counter to DX. This could go lower. I'm looking actively for possible alternate support trend lines. I haven't found anything good yet, but I will. Okay, KC. KC, slightly more upside. Still looks like a flag. Still wondering about a retest of the low. And we're still on a weekly 6-minute sell signal. SB. SB has retested the low. Nice looking potential level bottom here. Could go lower. We need some confirmation to the upside with a break of the channel resistance in the 1195 area. We're likely to see that soon anyway because we didn't quite hit it here. So we are likely to be going back there. Okay, CC has broken back up. Could this have all been a flag? It's too big. It's a really, really big flag, but I mean, but could this be breaking up towards my trend line in the 2550 area? Definitely. All we need to do, let's hold the monthly pivot and weekly pivot as support, convert those, and we can go. I still like that trend line. Okay, right, okay. We've run out of charts, so I didn't do the last three. You can ask those in questions. I'm going to stop the main recording there.